It's weird. Hi everyone, welcome to Kats Creations live on Friday, where I am going to show you how to create the snowman from a Dollar Tree wreath frame. So super simple, color combinations, like unlimited color combinations of what you can do. I like the design that we're kind of going with right now because it fits in for Christmas, but it can also stay up all through winter. So it makes for a very good item that people may not want to take down just after the holidays. They want to leave it up all the way through January, February. The great thing also is it's storm door friendly. It's only 3 inches thick, and that's going from the tip of his nose all the way to the back of his head. So I can't wait to show you how to do this. There is a build process to build his base, and then the super fun part is the embellishing, the decorating. So this is a great project if you, as a mom, grandmother, aunt, uncle, sister, brother, whatever, want to build the base. You can build the base and then allow your kids to do the fun design. Then you can come back in and make that a permanent thing by adding the glue. So Dollar Tree snowman frame. The dimensions of the frame alone are 23 tall, and from fingertip to fingertip on the snowman is 18 inches wide. So that's the frame dimension. So you've got a bigger frame to work with than kind of what we're used to. What else will you need? Ribbon colors. You will need a 2.5 inch and an 1.5 inch for his bow and the brim of his hat. Snowflakes or whatever embellishments. Holly would be an adorable embellishment. So there's all kinds of different creative ways that you can go with this. You're going to need 1 skein of, let me look at the weight. This is 31.7 yards or 8 ounces of chunky yarn. Make sure it's the chunky, because sometimes, and I did this earlier, let me show you, sometimes it will tell you that it's a chunky yarn, but it's really not. It's very thin. So you want the thicker, the better, because it means less winding for you and you get an overall better effect. And then whatever color you want to do for the hat. You can choose to do fur, you can choose to do felt. It's entirely up to you. This is the fun part of doing the creative side. I'm just going to teach you how to build the base and how to build it similar to the one behind me, and answer any questions you have along the way. So if you like this tutorial and you're going to go out this weekend to the Dollar Tree and look for a snowman frame, because they should be populating. If they don't, you can order it online through Dollar Tree. You can order a case. There's 24 to a case, and they ship right to your door in about a week. And trust me, these are super simple. You're going to want to make a lot because you can do them for all different color themes that you might have with your home decor.
Thank you, Anna, for saying 100 stars.
Oh, okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Stars at the bottom. Mobile users and desktop, tablet, and laptop viewers, those little star icons at the bottom, those are donations. So we are doing a fundraiser for the month of November to support a family at Thanksgiving. And it's just to provide all the food that they need for a holiday meal. Now, everyone's family might be a little bit different. So we're doing gift cards and allowing the families to go out and purchase items that they would normally purchase for their holiday dinner. We're hoping to sponsor at least 5 families. Last month, the blankets for the homeless, we were able to donate, what was it? I'm trying to think. $284.22 is what we raised between what you guys sent in on the Stars fundraising and then what we match, because we match 100%. That's what we're able to do as far as helping to donate blankets for the homeless in October. So I said I would get that back to you. If you want this tutorial, just make sure you click the share button on the bottom. It goes ahead and shares this to your Facebook post, so that way you can have this available when you're ready. YouTube subscribers, this is from Friday, November the 5th of the year 2021. Who knows, by next year they may not have the snowman frame. So just to kind of help keep you guys updated with time frames. If you'd like to be notified when we go live, make sure you hit the like and follow button below. Love to have you follow us. And we're ready to get going.
Valerie asked, did you see the new star frames at Dollar Tree?
No, I have not.
I haven't seen those yet.
I'm like, you guys find them faster than I can. I'm like, I have the candy cane. I'm still working on this. And this tutorial, by the way, I saw a precursor, like a little trailer of what's to come from Julie's Wreath Boutique. So I want to give credit to her. That's where I watched her tutorial. And then I kind of like figured out what kinds of things I wanted to do a little bit different. So I'm hoping to show you guys my approach and hopefully a couple shortcuts along the way. So you can check my video out, check her video out, whatever you'd like to do. We're ready to go. So we are going to start with our skein of yarn. Super simple. This color, by the way, is called Vanilla Dream. Should you want to look this up through Walmart, and we're going to go ahead and try to find the starter, which is always at the end and always one I can never find until it just pops out on its own. I'm sure like well-meaning knitters are like, it's super simple, you just pull here. Where did they start? My other one started so much easier. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and just start pulling some of these off. The one thing with the white yarn is that it picks up everything as far as lint goes. There we go. It was just way in there. Okay, starting with the end, I tie on. So if you notice, this is a very, very thin wreath frame. So I'm gonna start at the bottom on the cross member and just tie it in a knot to get it going. And the one thing you're gonna have the biggest challenge with is maintaining good coverage on the curves. In the middle, super simple. As you get closer to the top, it's really hard to keep your yarn going straight when the natural curvature of your frame is going in. So you're gonna use a lot of glue. I use Gorilla Glue in my glue gun, and then I'm using a silicone mat so that it doesn't stick to my cutting mat. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just go ahead and secure my end piece here at the very, very bottom. Steve's gonna go ahead and pan down so you won't see me no more. I know that this view for you guys might be a little bit upside down, but I wanted you to see the finished product so that you would know what it looked like when it was finished. So he's panning down. Are you going all the way down?
As much as I can.
Okay. And then I'm just going to start a bead here across the top on the front side. And I'm just going to hold this down until we get the first layer through. It generally doesn't take that long. I managed to finish my whole base, and I was really super picky and going super slow, just under an hour. And then all you have to do, simple bow, embellish it the way you want. Basically, you're done. Okay, here's the back side. I am going to, at the ends, right in the middle on the crossbar, and on the other side. So when I take this and I bring this up and over, it has something to stick to. So I'm going to make sure wherever I can kind of see the frame at the very, very bottom, I'm just kind of like making sure I'm tagging that with glue, because that's the last thing you want to see. Steve brought up a really good tip. You can totally take the frame, spray paint it white, and then you have a white base to work with. That's an option you have available. But you only have to be super conscious right at the very bottom, because it's your start and end points. And it looks amazing by the time you're finished. Okay, I'm gonna take this and flip this over. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna secure on the ends with a bead of glue. I'm gonna go ahead and tag this top So as I drag it across the top, it's going to make sure these ends stay in place. So this is just initially to get you a straight line, basically, so you can just start wrapping. Because right now it's too hard. If you wrapped, everything's gonna wanna shuffle down to the bottom. Okay, you're gonna flip over, do the same thing, because we're almost to a point, almost, where we can start to just wrap. But take your time and get your beginning part done first. Make sure you have a really good base. And this feels amazing by the time you're done because you're building a layer on the front and also a layer on the back, so it's super plushy and soft. We're back over to the other side. Remember, we're trying to get through the curves and then anchor to the ends because you don't want to see black on the sides. And
remember, this is a new design too, so if you gals want to do something that you think you can improve upon,
oh, absolutely, feel free. I saw a couple people try a couple different things, and I was like, not really crazy about the designs. So sometimes you just have to wait it out and see what other people will do, and if that floats your boat, then you're good. So you can see we're starting to kind of arc the other way, which is good because this means that we're at the point where we can just wrap. And I'm going to tag this just so we can get around that corner. Okay. And then from here, we're going to keep even tension on it. And we're just going to wrap the frame. Just like so. It's going to go pretty quick. It was funny because Steve was like, how long did it take you to build that? And I'm like, not too long. I just get really picky about how I want it to look. So you're just kind of stacking your yarn. You can kind of push them down. There we go. Flipping.
Joanne, yeah, if you can't find any of the Dollar Tree Snowman forms, you can order it online.
That's what I did.
Right.
Everyone kept saying, what about the Dollar Tree Snowman? And I'm like, I haven't found them. I went to 4 Dollar Trees and none of our Dollar Trees had them out. And
But you'll have to order a case, right?
I wanted to order a case anyway.
Yeah.
Because you just never know. Next year, these could be long gone, like the candy canes, right? We thought the candy canes would be around forever. And now they changed the design. So every once in a while, I'll take it and just kind of tap the edges. Just to make sure it doesn't roll. And it gets really nice when you're by his hands, although his hands can be a little bit of a challenge because they want to hold the yarn. But I'm going to, right here at the crossbeam, right where his arm is, I want to make sure that that stays there and that doesn't roll down. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing just right here around his arm, because we're going to make sure that we keep it as close to the bottom of his arm as we're getting through the arm part. And then we're going to go above. So we're right at the point where now we need to go above his hand line. So we're going to go here, wrap it around, and then flip it over. And now we're starting to match up this side because his hand's just a little bit higher than the other.
Suzette asked, is this yarn from Walmart?
Yes.
But you can also find it at
Hobby Lobby, Joann's. Yeah, I just prefer this particular one because it's the really thick, chunky yarn. Okay, we're doing the same thing. And I'm going to go ahead and do it here because we're going to match
One
down, and then one over.
Oh, that's awesome. Candace said my Dollar Tree just got the snowman, the star, the Santa hat, and the stocking wire frames in the store.
Nice, nice, nice. So I'm going to do this side. So here is our challenge, right? As we're coming around, we're fighting with the angle that wants to push all the yarn to the top. We can't have it go to the top, because if it goes to the top, then all the side is exposed, and you want to make sure your sides are covered. So we're going to have to kind of do what we did at the bottom, right up here at the top. We're going to have to make sure we tack down our sides as we go around, just to make sure it doesn't slide. So I can usually get like one side, hold it like so, make sure that it stays down, scrunched towards the bottom, and then roll it to the back and do the same thing. This way you know your yarn is not going to travel anywhere, and that you won't have to worry about covering the sides where you can start to see your frame peek through. Because you want to make sure you give them a pretty good fluffy bottom. Okay, same thing, just a dot. Do it here. Make sure we go around his arm.
Linda said, weatherman's predicting snow at higher elevations here in Washington State.
Then this is the perfect design for you.
Can you bring some snow down to California?
Yeah, no kidding. Nothing here, just same old weather every day.
Hi gals, just joining. Hi Peggy.
Feels like Groundhog Day. Now, as you're starting to creep up that curve, you don't want to put too much tension on it, because if you do, you will start to pull your yarn that you've tacked on to the sides. You'll start to pull that up. You don't want to pull it.
Good question. Does the hot glue stay well on metal?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Not anything to worry about.
It's recommended you to have like the Teflon pad too that she has.
I just use it so when if I get a drop of glue on it, once it cools, I can just pull it off. Okay. Up and over. You just got to work it right here, because there is no other way to do it. If you remember the 3D pumpkin frames, the biggest challenge we had is doing the sides and keeping that yarn consistent so that it didn't creep up on you. So take your time. As you can see, I'm just holding the edge so that I don't have any of the yarn creeping up. Making sure everything is nice and fluffy.
Deborah, that's actually Gorilla Glue gun. By Gorilla brand.
It's the only one that I liked. I tried the Surebonder one, but it just oozed when it got hot. Which, you don't want to waste all the glue. I go ahead and put a new glue stick in.
Jackie, the bases are actually welded together. The top circle and the bottom circle.
Did she think we added them together?
She just asked the question, are those bases zip tied together?
Oh no. Yeah, they come that way. Just like the little hat and his arms.
Yep, the whole frame comes that way.
Yep.
From Dollar Tree.
So we're doing the same thing here. We're going to try to keep this bunched together so that it keeps his snowmanly figure. Roll it over.
Leslie said, I love watching you. You're a great instructor.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate that. I've been wanting to show you guys this design for a while, but I had to wait for the frames to come in. Then I had to find the yarn. Then I had to find the embellishments I was happy with. And you know how things are with the supply chain now. It's not like it was before. So I'm just coming in and finishing off the edges.
Yeah, you can see that yarn's thick enough. It really covers really well.
Well, I'm taking my time and making sure that it stays where I want it to stay. Okay. And I'm going to tack some right here in the center. So as we get ready to go.
Do you want to try to put in a hanger?
Oh yeah, thank you for that reminder. Okay, I'm trying to make sure which way mine goes. So Steve brought up a really good point. Like after we did that one, we're like, how do you add the hanger? Because you put so much glue along the frame. I mean, you would think it's super easy. You're just gonna run it through the yarn. But it's not, because if you're using a lot of glue.
You might have to pick it up and see where the angle, where it hangs. Remember
I'll do it, yeah. I'm gonna do it on a cross. So that should be perfect. So I am going to just set that there. So I just added a pipe cleaner to the center so that it's easier. Let's go this way. It's easier for our hanger port. Okay.
Sarah says you actually putting glue on the frame and then she's laying the yarn down under the frame and the glue.
Yeah, because if you think about it, we're going around a circle, trying to wind something around a circle. And if you've ever wound anything around a circle, it wants to bunch up. So we're now having to deal with a much smaller circle. So we need to make sure our yarn stays just like we did at the bottom where we intend for it to stay. So once we get a good straight line in here, again, we can just start to wrap.
Kathy asked, I think someone asked earlier too, what would you price this at?
By the time I'm finished, these I'm listing for $60. And here's the reason. These, by the time they're finished, will be 24 by 19 inches. Width is not such an issue, but it's going to still require a larger box. And if you go for the nice chenille yarn, it's a little bit cheaper, or a little bit more expensive than the thinner diameter that I showed you. So I like the thicker. It just makes them softer and fuzzier. Okay, we're almost ready to start wrapping.
Rose says, I love this. I'm thinking about a snowman theme.
Right? Because there's so many people who like snowmans. But this is also a great Christmas gift idea if you have like that Christmas party and you're like, what am I going to take for the gift exchange? Make a snowman.
It could also be great for kids' craft.
That's what we are saying.
Yeah.
It's like Steve had fun assembling the snowman, and I was like, okay, this is not fun. Building the base, not so much fun. It's more fun to build the snowman. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make sure that our edges stay covered. Tension on the yarn, and now we can kind of wrap as we get closer to the top.
All right, Pam, it's a little similar to the pumpkin.
Yep, except we're not going over, under,
Right.
through all the ribs. And if you feel like you want to tack, put a couple drops of glue to make sure that, hey, where I've just ran this through 4 or 5 times, I want it to stay there. There's nothing that says that you can't add or tack on any more glue. And now for here, I'm starting to come back up on the upslope for his head.
Kathy, she's asked, what if you sold at a craft fair? You would obviously wouldn't have to charge the shipping charges.
It depends on how much you're going to put in your embellishments. How much is your yarn? I think my yarn ended up coming to about 12 something for the yarn for one skein. Whereas like the thinner yarn, you can buy more of it, but it's all going to come down to price of materials and availability, right? Right now, as a wreath maker, we have product in stock. We don't have gifts sitting out on the docks waiting for our shipments to come in. We have it now. So a lot of friends and family are going to be getting snowman this year. Because I don't know what the availability on the yarn is going to be.
She'll check. She said, "Did you get my email regarding the Secret Santa?" I haven't got a response yet.
When did you send it? I just sent out questionnaires today for everyone to fill out of the ones that I got in. So let me know when you sent it. If you sent it today, I probably haven't responded. Trying to get everything done because it's going to be a busy weekend. So it's nice as you get near the hat, you can just kind of follow along and go under the brim. And I'm doing it this way so those of you that are watching can now see it right side up.
Yeah, she got the yarn from Walmart, but you can get it at Hobby Lobby.
Whoever has
Joann's, whoever has
white
chunky yarn.
Chunky yarn. You might even have chunky yarn sitting in your closet. Like I think I went out and bought the chenille yarn when Joann's was doing a yarn sale, and then I didn't realize, even though it said chunky, by the time I pulled it out and actually looked at what my chunky yarn looked like, it wasn't chunky. It was just chenille yarn. So I was like, thank God I had this left over from when we did the pumpkins.
Betty asked, how many snowmen can you get off of one roll of yarn?
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah, just one. You'll see there's just like a touch left, and you might want to come back in and maybe thicken up some of the outsides, but you won't have enough to complete another one. I don't know how far the leftover would get. And I'm just going to do pushing down and then wrapping this around, because I'm trying to make sure that my sides stay covered. I'm going to go around, and then I'm going to go across the brim, and you'll see what I'm going to do here in a minute when we get to the brim. So I'm going to keep this covered.
Oh, thanks, Richard. He said Joann's.com has yarn on sale right now.
Good. Just hope they have the right chunky yarn.
If you find, Richard, that they have the white chunky yarn on there,
pick it up.
let everybody know.
Okay, so now I have just a touch left, so I'm just going to kind of measure this out so that I can kind of wrap it and not have to keep pulling off of my huge skein. So I'm going to go through his hat right now. And I'm going to go through the brim just a little bit more, because I want to make sure we finish up his head, but it's not like mission critical right here because we're going to cover this with the black yarn. But in a way, I don't want it there because then I have to work twice as hard to cover white as well. So let's just do this. Run this one more time.
Joanne, seems like she's already done a couple of these.
Uh-huh.
Which is awesome. She said, I got halfway up on my second snowman with one skein of yarn.
Halfway up on your second?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds about right, because I was going to say this is what I have left out of the first.
Right.
And this is what I have left. So maybe if you buy two, you have enough for three. Yeah. It just depends on how you weave it, how thick you want to go, I guess.
Hi, everyone jumping on.
And then I'm paying super close attention to the edges because nobody wants to see the black frame. And we're pretty much almost finished right here. I might have one more time to go back, but I'll look after I place this in. It doesn't look like it, but I'm going to put this through the center. I'm going to flip them back over and just double check and see right here. I don't know if you guys can see right here. I still have to cover that, so I want to make sure that's covered. So I'm going to take this and run this one last time across the end. So this is finished, just like so. And then let's cut this little piece off.
So nice and soft too.
I know, it is super soft. Seeing if I have a way to go under. I do. So I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to pull this under, and then this is where I'm going to cut it off. So everything is all nice and snug. This is the back because this is where we have our pipe cleaner. Remember we put that in? Because it's so hard, because we glue so extensively here to make sure the yarn doesn't shift and this doesn't like bunch up around his neck. So that is Mr. Snowman covered front to back, top and bottom. Do you guys have any questions about the yarn? Huh?
Yeah, Brenda, Kat said that at the very beginning you could spray paint the
frame white.
Frame white.
That was Steve's tip. And sometimes I just have like these little ends where I can kind of see, and I find that if I just put a little dot of glue and then just take and kind of pinch the yarn together, it just fills in maybe where something might have slid, or I'm just overly critical. I hate seeing anything that shouldn't be there. So you can kind of just pinch them together, like right here. I can kind of see the frame just a little bit. One little dot of glue, and then I don't want to burn myself. You just kind of pinch it together. And then voila, the hole's filled. So super simple. Now what we're gonna do is, I'm trying to think, what did I do? I did the arms, believe it or not. And I prefer, there's a couple different ways you can do the arms. You can get chenille stems and wrap chenille stems around them and kind of thicken them up. That's an option. I'm gonna do it with the thinner, chunky yarn, the chenille, up and around. You can also do it, Julie had fuzzy, like really super thick, probably as thick as this, but they were chenille stems. And she just, wound those around his arms. I like using the yarn because we've built him so far out of yarn. Keeping in mind, this is my back. I'm going to start here with my yarn, and I'm going to just put a dot here. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to wrap around. And I choose to do the skinnier hand, the shorter hand first. Finger, I guess. So I'm doing the short finger, winding it around, kind of loose, not overly tight.
If you guys want to put a little speck of glue as you go, you can.
Yeah, I do it on the very, very end because I want to make sure the end's covered. And then as I finish up on the top, I work my way around and come back down to kind of thicken that up. And then I go around the next.
Yeah, Liz and Deborah both said that mittens would be cute.
Yes, you
Deborah said
could.
I saw one that had put mittens on the hands.
That's super cute because you can get little kids mittens, right?
Right.
And go that route. So now I'm going up through his middle. Oop, not the outside. So just lightly till you get to the tip. Cover your tip with glue. Go around and then start going back down with a little bit more tension so you can wrap a little bit tighter. And then now we're going up the last finger for our snowman. Same thing. You just wind, wind, wind. Dab of glue on the end. And then bring it back down, go around, and then back down. All the way back down to where we started. So he has some, I guess his arms are as thick as his body part would be.
They're supposed to be stick-like.
Well, yeah. So I just kind of wrap that off, go around for the final, time, add my dab of glue on the back side, kind of stretch that in place so he has nice little fuzzy hands, I guess. Okay, same thing with the other side. So see how his hand's all completely covered? You can still tell it's a hand. Same thing, start at the bottom close to your frame and get your yarn going. And we're going to go up and around and do the short finger first. Dab of glue on the end. So as we come around, we can go back down.
Yeah, that's true. Baby mittens would probably be perfect.
They would. They'd be super cute.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
That's what Carol said.
That would be adorable. Okay, we're going down. So we can get to his middle. Do the middle part.
How many gals out there have seen something like this done before?
I think it's fairly new.
Yeah,
I don't know if this frame was available last year or not. Okay. And then I always tag it right at the joint so that it doesn't slide down. And then go around.
Debbie said she has.
Okay.
She's watching me. Deborah said, Deborah said, I'm kind of surprised that the hanger is sort of in the middle of him instead of on the top. Is there a reason?
Yeah, if you look at, oh, you guys can't see the door. Yeah, I'll show you at the end. Because if you hang him way up here, he's like where we have the nail on our door, it puts his head, it almost puts the hat above the door frame itself. So it doesn't work for us. So same thing for most people who have a wreath hanger. If they do it too far up here, it might be too high. But honestly, you guys can put it wherever you desire.
Joanne said, yeah, just saw it this year from Julie also.
Awesome. Yeah, it was like when she did a picture of what she had, I was like, oh my God, that's adorable. It reminded me of kind of like what we did for the snowman face last year using the pumpkin frame. So this is this year's version of a Dollar Tree wreath. Okay, so there are his hands. So he's got adorable hands. You can still technically put mittens on him because they're glued down really well. Now what we're gonna do is we are going to wrap the top of the brim, because I find if you try to wrap it, especially if you're going thin, it gets really difficult sometimes to hide the very, very, very top. So we're gonna do kind of like what we did on the pumpkin. I am just going to put a knot here. Let me go ahead and get this one started.
Jackie said, I've seen them, just wasn't sure how the frame was done. I hope my Dollar Tree has it. Remember, you can order them online by the case.
So I am going to now do what we did with the pumpkin. I cut off just enough yarn for me. So we're gonna kind of do a little bit of sewing and just kind of go all the way around, and we're going to outline the top of his hat because that makes super cute. I'm gonna keep this held. Matter of fact, let's just add glue so it won't slide while I'm trying to twist. So it's just like how I taught you how to do the edges on the pumpkin. There we go. We'll do one more in here. And then this way it'll make sure that you have a precise coverage as you get ready to wrap your hat. And then we're going to do this the same. We'll kind of cheat and do a couple. Like I'm just going around and around. Another good kid project. Go around your snowman's hat. You're going to outline it in yarn. Okay, a couple more in this main section.
That's
like,
really tough. She said I did one of these several weeks ago.
Really?
Awesome.
What colors did you use? I'm curious because it's like I was like, do we do red and green? Do we do a primitive snowman? Make him kind of like a country snowman. So many different options you have.
Oh, good, Betty. She said I bought a case of the snowman online from Dollar Tree, and they delivered them within a week.
Yes, really that's how mine was. I got them within the week. And somebody says too, if you get them in and you don't need them, you'll have to check with your local Dollar Tree. Sometimes they'll take your excess back. But I find, I'll end up using them. Or next year, someone will have evolved this design somehow. And I'll be like, oh, I wish I would have never sold those. Because now nobody can get them back in stock, right?
Barbara, yes, the black is also the same thick, chunky as the white.
It's not as thick as the white. So here's my white, and here's the black. The white is about double the thickness of the black, just for the outline on his hat. Okay. So I am going to snip this off. I'm going to tack this down, and I'll show you what we did while I'm holding this to dry. I'm going to move this out of the way. All I've done is just outline the top part of his hat. So now I know for a fact, if I start wrapping my yarn around, this is all covered. I only have to go this far. Okay.
Joanne made a joke. She said they'll probably be smaller next year.
Probably.
Like
they'll only be like half the size of the head and half the size of the body, right? Okay, now we can start here at the bottom. Same way, just make it super simple on yourself. Just tie on. Why can I not tie right now? Okay, we're tying on. This is probably too small. Let's see, because I grabbed the leftover piece I had. We'll try it and see if there's enough here. And now you're just going to wind because we're working on a flat surface, and I'm gonna just keep tying off. So that wasn't enough to go through. Let me just do another piece. I hate mixing them. Even though when you're wrapping yarn, you can kind of tell where they may have ran out and they just tied into your skein. I'm like, yes, I can feel that. There's that piece. So tie on. Okay. I'm going to.
But oh yeah, absolutely. You could use felt.
Oh yeah.
As well for the hat.
You could. You could use cardboard. I'm trying to think of what else. You could do ribbon. If you had a really nice black ribbon. So now I'm going to wrap around the snowman.
This one you could do actually. I got also, I guess, the Halloween hat.
Halloween hat.
The hat you make the Santa hats out of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the black wrap that goes around the original.
Oh yeah, you could. You reuse the tinsel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you have like places where you feel like it's a little on the thin side, you know, just keep rewrapping. Like I'm going right over the top. Not that I needed to because my brim's going to be there, but I've already taken care of my brim. I'm going to flip this over to the back. We're going to, this is where it pays to take all your black and white leftover pieces. Otherwise you'll keep picking them apart throughout all your entire design. And I'm going to take this and just lay this in.
Shirley said that she did hers with chunky rug yarn, off-white.
Okay.
The hat she did black glitter ribbon.
Oh, that's
and
see?
a red and white striped bow, and then she put pine and red berries on the hat.
Exactly.
With one snowflake. Everybody loved it.
That's the best part, is how diverse you can decorate your hat.
You should post a picture in the public group.
Yeah. So I'm going to flip this over. And now we have this part, which is super, super thin. On the snowman behind us, I just wrapped the yarn. I kept going back and forth and tried to thicken this up. Julie gave a great tip, and I didn't want to run out extra. We have stir sticks for our paint. You can do popsicle sticks, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just cover this, and then we're going to glue this right onto the frame to give him a fully thick brim. So let's see if this will be enough. Probably not. The leftover piece. No. I need to stop now. Okay. Anyway, with that, we're going to
have a great weekend, Kathleen.
Start.
Gals are looking super cute. Richard said the same thing. Thank you, gals, guys.
And I'm just going to layer, and just wind this. Trying to make it as thick because I wanted his brim to be a little bit thicker. So I would have really liked to have seen them, use 2 pieces of wire, because I think it kind of makes it have a stress point there. Just with single wire, just like his arms. Those would have a tendency, I would think, of snapping off. We're going to do the same thing here. Here, as we continue to wrap.
Yeah, you could use like 1.5 black glitter ribbon and wrap it as well.
Oh, absolutely. Let us trying to keep it on and down, but I need to cover the very, very edge here with one final piece. So this way it looks consistent. It's the same thickness all the way through. You don't have these short little pieces sticking out. I'm going to finish this edge a little bit better than how I started. These are one of those crafts where you're like, I know I'm going to burn my fingers. I know I'm going to touch the glue. Make sure your glue gun's on low. We're going to finish that. So now he has a super fuzzy brim, just like that. Okay, got to make sure all the black and white fuzz is off. Otherwise, we'll be picking black out of the white and white out of the black. And we're just going to put glue here. Hence, it's over my silicone mat. So if it drips, it's not an issue. I just want to make sure there's enough for me to take and hold that down.
Thank you, Joanne. She sent 50 stars.
Thank you so much. We'll see if this works. We shall see if it works. This was like a last minute thing. We have not tried this to see if this works yet. And let me flip this over. And I am going to, here's the thing I don't like about that whole process is you can, but I can kind of figure out what we can do. You can kind of see where the glue is going to sit on top of your piece. So I'm going to use the weight because we're pushing opposite, and then we'll cover that ends up with the yarn, the chunky yarn. Otherwise, you just see where it glues to the wire frame. You don't want to see that.
Yeah, Shirley said I like the glitter ribbon because to me it looked like melting snow on a hat. I love seeing what each person does. Good ideas.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all great ideas.
There should just be like, I don't know, maybe even on Dollar Tree. I don't understand why they don't do that. Like on their website, you know, list, hey guys, you know, we just launched this product. We'd like to see what you all have done with this particular product. And go from there. Let's make sure it sticks. We're just giving it time to set up. Because I don't know how else, other than the way that we did it and just incorporated wrapping the brim like I did. This seems like a long, lengthy process just to thicken your brim up. Trying to make sure the glue is dry before I let go. And our hat stuck. Our brim stayed. Just like that. So there's our brim.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? So far, there's our snowman. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Now comes the fun part. Now comes, and I will go back on the back side, re-glue that, and then cover the glue with the black yarn. But it looks nice because you have a contrast in the way the shapes are. But from here, we will start to embellish. So the super simple way to begin is start big. The biggest thing on your snowman besides, oh, this is a fun part, we get to start decorating. So where would you guys begin? What is the next biggest thing you would think of that we should work on? Should we do the eyes? Should we do the nose? Should we do the brim of the hat? Should we build his bow? Should we add his buttons? I'm loving the idea you guys suggested about gloves. That would be a nice addition to a grandparent or a mom to have their like baby's little gloves on there, like as a legacy piece, you know? Okay.
It'd be great too, is if for kids and grandkids, especially families who have a lot of kids, you know, the grandma, grandpa, whoever could write their names on the side, on the bottom. They each have a little one on their doors.
Oh yeah.
That'd be super cute.
Okay, so we're doing the bow. The bow's is the next big thing on the wreath because you don't want to do the bow after you built the face or did the brim of the hat. So I always go with kind of like our floral stuff. Save the small stuff for the end. So the first thing you're going to do is, it's a super simple bow. You don't want to go over the top because you can't have super long tails. You can't have an overly wide bow because he's only got so much neck space, and then you don't want to impact his buttons or his face because your bow's too big or your tails are too long. So I'm going to start with 2.5-inch ribbon. I'm going to do a dovetail, which means bring the wired edges together. And we're going to cut from the folded side down to the wired end. Just like that. That gives you a super cute, perfect finish look.
You can elect to go for a scarf too if you wanted to do a scarf.
Yeah. We're going to go, let's see. I'm just going to kind of take this and gauge. I think that's 7 inches. Like 7.5. I'm going to do 7.5 because we can always cut it shorter if it's too long. So I know based on the one I just did, we do 6 inches, which is a 3-inch loop. So you're always going to bring your bow back to the finish line. You're going to measure out 6, let's do 7, because then we'll have a 3.5 inch bow on the back. So 7 inches, pass it off, do a little twist, measure out another 7 inches. Go ahead and pinch it, transfer it, twist it, and then another 7. I think we just said 7. I'll go 7.5 just in case I didn't do it right. Okay, so, and I probably did. Let me see. Oh, 7.5. Why does this one seem so long? Because it's closer to 8. Okay, so I'm using my bow dabber just to hold this. You could use, because I didn't have my bow dabber out before, clothespin, chip clip, a handy pair of extra hands, say hold that for a second. Go ahead and I'll finish doing the dovetail edge on this so that they kind of match. And then we're going to add our 1.5 inches. We're doing buffalo plaid because buffalo plaid is still popular. There's also another reason we're doing the same. Can you guys figure it out? Same thing. Ooh. This is new. Oh, splice right at the end.
Splice, huh?
Yeah. I don't think you noticed that when you cut the ribbon to make your hat. So
I think Teresa, she said she's seen many Dollar Tree snowmen, but this is the best one she's seen.
aw, thank you.
Like I said, I love it. A big fan of snowmen. I do one room at Christmas for them. So that's awesome.
So I'm doing the same measurements. 7-inch tail. I did a 7-inch loop with a twist. Gonna measure out another 7 inches. Gather, bring that towards the center, twist, and then 7 inches on this one. And then I'm just gonna take this, because it gets to be a pain to hold. I'm gonna put the whole thing in my bow dabber so I can just do the dovetail and not have to hold it like so. Okay, that's super simple. We'll keep that out because we're gonna knead it here for a second. Have you guys figured out why I'm doing buffalo plaid on this one? I wanted to do icy blue, winter, but then I chose this one last minute.
Karen got it.
What?
She's all for like double doors.
Double doors. If you notice, the snowman on the door, his hat is leaning to the right. This snowman that we're building, his hat leans to the left. So it's a perfect way for a wreath set to go on double doors where you just do that slight minimal change. And because this frame is universal, you can flip it to whether you like the hat on the left or hat on the right. So it's entirely up to you. It's kind of cool. Gonna use, white pipe cleaner. Is this gonna come through? I'm gonna lift the whole thing up. We're gonna go ahead and secure this. So we have a super simple bow for our snowman. We will check length before we go ahead and put it in place, which means brings all your tails down. Go ahead and set that right on top.
Of course, I love your snowman. Thank you for the wonderful instructions.
Yours kind of goes more to the middle instead of one, like originally I think you said you were going to do the bow more to the left.
It's a little bit to the left. Yeah.
So then this one should go a little bit to the right.
Okay. Yeah, it's maybe an inch off center.
So I'm going to go ahead and fasten that there, but before I do that, well actually I'm going to do this first.
Yeah, Lisa, I noticed that the hats were tipped opposite.
So we're just going to go right through our frame. Because we're going through a chunky yarn, it can be a pain.
Yeah, so she thought you were doing it to match the Wreath of the Month theme.
You know what's funny? As I told Steve, I said, we're doing buffalo plaid for the Wreath of the Month too. Yeah, and then my brother's decor in his house is buffalo plaid. So I was like, yeah, I guess he was getting buffalo plaid snowmen for his house. So yeah, there we go. I'm just going to bring that through the back side. We're going to go ahead and twist that off. So he has a super adorable little bow. Flip this over. We're going to go ahead and trim that off. And we're going to tuck that back on the inside. Okay, here's our hanger. So our hanger is still intact. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this so it stays out of the way and doesn't catch on the rest of our design. And then now, because you don't have to do it this way, I want to make it appear as though he had a bow tie and that it goes all the way around his neck. So we're going to measure the ribbon to go all the way around. And I'm going to give it some overlap so I can play with it, but not have to deal with the whole row. And I'm actually going to do this right under my bow. First, I need to glue to the yarn so that the ribbon won't slide around. And then we will glue ribbon to ribbon, end to end.
Purchase set. I just found big ornaments that were the red, black, and buffalo plaid.
Ah.
At Dollar Tree, I bought all 6. That's good to do.
Yes. If you see something you like this year for Christmas, get it now. That's what I keep telling everyone. So I always like to use the little stir sticks, the little wooden skewers from Dollar Tree. They make for the perfect fingers that don't get burned. Mm-hmm. And they can hold everything in place. So now he has a cute little adorable scarf. I'm going to kind of pull his ribbon off to the side. We'll fix the longer tail. We'll just fix that. We're going to add the bell to the center.
Center, yeah, we'll show the back at the very end.
From Hobby Lobby. So Hobby Lobby has all different kinds of jingle bells.
I had a bell.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. So I like the ones that look like old-fashioned little bells. So this is what I'm talking about.
Got like a snowflake sign.
Yeah, can you zoom in?
Yeah.
So this is your typical jingle bell. This is the one I like. It's like the Polar Express bell.
Right.
So
they have a shiny and a dull.
Yeah, I like the dull on this one. So dot to the center. And we are going to drop our bell down into the center. And it's funny because I allowed Steve to just kind of like do creative, do it however which way you want. All I did is build the base, and I said, now you have fun building your snowman. You make him whatever personality you want.
Mm-hmm. I tilted his eyes a little bit to make it look like he's moving and kind of rounded the 3 buttons on his belly.
So now comes the fun part everybody wants. Well, no, not yet. I have to do the brim of his hat. So we need to take the 1.5 inch ribbon that we have and go right around the brim the same way that we did his collar. So I'm going to flip him over for now so you guys can see. Okay, so we're going to add glue to his hat. I'm going to go ahead and take my ribbon and hold it down. I want to make sure where this is going to overlap. I try to cut right on a detail, like right where a color fades or right where a color ends. And then all the way to the edge. Right here. In. And let's make those match. So I'm gonna let that stick. This is where you're like, I can see all this lint, these colors. There's white on black, black on white. Okay, flipping him back over. Flip up his bow. And now you get to do fun stuff with decorating. So, cost-effective thing. I don't know because I haven't been into Dollar Tree and ever really priced, but I'm sure Dollar Tree has buttons. I went to Hobby Lobby when the snowman faces came out a couple years ago, and I bought this container full of different size, all black buttons, and they're all different. So literally, if I put these out, you can see they're all just different buttons. Different sizes, different shapes, different textures. Some are smooth, some are flat. So you can sit here. I think we took the larger one, so it's not quite as large. Let me find a larger one. Is that one? Oh. Literally, they're all different sizes. So I'm trying to find one to match our mid-size. Almost comes fairly close. What is this one? Let's go that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then we have 2 for the eyes. Let me take these 2 and move that over. I like the eyes to look somewhat the same. So look, you can do whatever look you want. You can make his eyes go close. You can make his eyes go far apart. You can make one up, one down. You can go a little bit closer. You know, you can really get creative on what personality your snowman's going to have. Obviously, the larger ones are his buttons that go down the bottom. Okay. And then we have carrot for the nose. So I've had these carrots since 2017. Michaels comes out with these rustic carrots for Easter. Buy them. I think you get like 12 in a pack. I used these on the snowman last year because they make for a really adorable carrot nose. So we're not going to use the green, obviously. We're going to use the carrot nose, but look at how perfect the carrot nose looks. Again, personality. Do you want hair? Do you want down? Do you want up? You know, what do you want his expression to look like? Steve's is a little bit different. I think his is kind of leaning.
Mine a little bit up and to the side, yeah.
I'm not doing it identical.
Yeah,
I kind of want it just slightly like a little bit different. And then he chose to use the little bit bigger buttons. So we always say start with the one in the middle for his smile. Let's make sure that's flat. So smile, and then however you want to work. I'm doing this upside down. You could go way high and just a little smirk with his, you know, his eyes closed, his eyes, however you want to do. That's where it gets to be individual creativity, and that's where it's fun. I can't wait, you know, if you do something like this where you build the body and then have your grandkids design the face, and maybe you come along and you hot glue, you know, okay, you laid it out exactly the way you want. All right, so now we're going to glue it in place. So I'm going to flip this, kind of see what I did. I kind of like that. I guess I'll make it so they match. Kind of like, and that's my last carrot too. So, all right, I'm going to start by gluing my buttons in. Glue stick number 2, so you can see how much glue you use. But I use the short sticks. I'm not using big ones. So always realize that you have holes for your buttons. So don't put your finger over the holes while you're loading it with glue.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure.
I even put I have my buttons on a little bit of an angle. They're like rounded.
There's that. Trying to hold them. It's slippery. Right there. Okay. I'm going to flip him upside down now that I know where he's at, so you guys can watch. I'm going to do his eyes.
It's probably better if you do it the other way so you can
Oops, I didn't mean to do that.
see his face when you're doing it.
That's okay. Grab it this way. Right there. I want to pull this glue off. There we go. I am going to glue my carrot in place. Kind of hold that so it stays where it needs to. What do you guys think of the design so far? Do you guys like it? Do you think this is something you're going to go back and try to repeat and create? I hope it is. I hope that we've made this tutorial easy for you to follow and do. See why you need the adults to do this? But you can see all the buttons you get. A lot of buttons. You make a lot of snowmen that way. Okay, one finishing touch at the very, 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 very top. Put all these away so my cats have a field day. If you like this, you want to purchase it, you don't want to make it, these are available on my website. If you'd like to join my private group, I am doing 2 extra tutorials on top of our public Fridays and Sundays. They get an extra 2 days. They get Sundays and Mondays. And we're teaching like outside of the box design tutorials for $17 a month. I'm trying to walk people through how to decorate your home for the holidays. Find that Pinterest picture. Find that magazine picture you like. Let me take the guesswork out of teaching you how to make some of that stuff yourself on a budget. And then not to allow the holidays to get so big and so busy that they begin to overwhelm. Last touch is our snowflake for our hat. You don't have to put the snowflake on. Hobby Lobby sells these in the right size in the miniature section of their seasonal. Whole bunch of different types of snowflakes. I can match yours if I want. Maybe. The one thing is these are ornaments, so I always advise cutting the rounded ornament part off so that it is a snowflake. And then I'm trying to see close to the end.
Yeah.
Close to the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're gonna just go ahead and glue this in place, and then our snowman is done. So I'm gonna flip this around. And there you go. It looks super cute with a piece of holly on here. Just so many different things that you could potentially do with this design. But he's all done. The back part that you guys were asking about, let me touch this up. I just don't want to burn my finger on the end. The back part, when we flip this over, the glue part, I am just going to take the glue, add a layer of glue, take my chenille yarn, and then just lay this over that bead of glue so we don't see this. This is what it would have looked like on the back side. I don't like to see that. Even though it's the back, I still want to fix it. So, what do you guys think? He's just as cute as the one on the back door. Look. Matching set. Well, technically, I guess they could go like this, right?
Yep.
They'd be buds. Or you could go this way if you wanted their heads to be together. Or you can just get them individually. But I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I hope we made this easy enough to follow. Any questions you have that I can answer for you? Most of the stuff is Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree. The ribbons from Crinkle and Joann's from last year. Buttons, Hobby Lobby.
Chris asked, if you don't have the carrot nose, what could you use?
You could use felt. What else were we looking at? Yeah. I think that's how they did it in their video. They just cut out pieces of felt. In the past, what I've done is taken pipe cleaners and wound a pipe cleaner into a carrot shape, and then just kind of had it spiraled into a carrot-like shape and glued that on there. And that's an option you have.
You could use foam and kind of carve the foam and spray paint the foam if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could use styrofoam. That would be a great one. Cut it down, spray paint it, glue it on. Everything's lightweight, and it's super lightweight too. Yep. Okay, any other questions? None that you can see?
That's awesome. Yep, that's it.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me. What am I doing on Sunday? Sunday, if you come back at 6 o'clock to the private group, we are doing a Christmas cross wreath for people who, I don't know, decorate their church for Christmas and want something nice for the pastor's podium. Some people buy them for their family members who have passed away as something to decorate the graveside. Some people just like what the cross represents for Christmas. So I'm going to teach you how to do one for Christmas. So join me on Sunday at 6 for that. Have a great weekend, and thanks for joining me tonight. Bye, everyone.